Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. Sorry, I was trying to think of what the next thought was going to be. Episode 380, and the second episode in 2 days. It is Friday, July 18th, 2014. We had an episode on Thursday, yesterday, and I'm doing it on Friday because we're we're choking. We're back on the standard Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule since I originally had offset the Farlands or Bust schedule by a day to make way for the UHC season 17. But now that has concluded, figure we might as well just jump right back into the normal schedule here. A lot of creepers here to welcome us back to the normal schedule, but yeah, probably a good reminder of why I don't do Farlands or Bust on a daily basis. That would be a little bit difficult, but we're trying this right now. Good stuff has been going on. We've got more donations coming in, even though it's been about 24 hours since the last recording anyway. And we're going to answer a bunch of questions this episode of Farlands or Bust, from donors to Child's Play charity, because the last episode I answered none. We went on a wild tangent talking about the YouTubes, the gaming channels, the monies and the affiliates and the Yogg's discoveries and all that stuff. And I feel like instead of continuing, I have more to talk about in relation to that and my own personal thoughts and plans and hopes and dreams. No, and stuff like that. But I figure coming back here on a Friday, Fan Friday, we will Farland Friday. We will we'll talk and answer questions in fun stuff to talk about and things like that. The first one being that we are up to $7,194.99 raised for Child's Play charity this season over at farlandsbust.com. I appreciate the continued donations and questions with those donations, of course. Similarly, we had, we didn't have, but JL zip code, JL2579 of the Zip Crowd. As I mentioned probably 17 days ago, excuse me, he, in the current versions of Minecraft, the snapshots, specifically the 11B snapshot, a slightly older snapshot, but the one he was able to get it to work in, was traveling live on Twitch TV to the edge of the quote-unquote infinite Minecraft world in that version. The Farlands do not exist. It simply continues generating land up until 30 million blocks, as opposed to here in Minecraft Beta 173, which is where we're playing. The Farlands begin at 12,500 something 820 blocks from spawn. So over double the distance, but he was using various mods and, not that many mods for the journey itself, command blocks and pre-generated land to make a railway system where he just hops in a rail cart and there's powered rails all the way from 0 all the way to 30 million. And earlier today, he reached 30 million. Live on stream after 17 days of continual minecart riding, and I was very happy to join him there at the 30 million mark. Kind of a cool little surprise. He had over 11,000 viewers at the time, but a cool little surprise as he invited me to come on and join him in the world. He opened it up to be joined by myself and some of the people of the Zip crowd who helped him out throughout the way, all the programming and stuff that went into it. And I was waiting there as he arrived. I had a tamed wolf, which I named Wolfie in the game, because with the name tag you can do that. And as he pulled up to this station they built, there I was. There was a little bit of technical difficulties getting the voice to work. The entire journey, he wasn't talking at all. It was just music in the background and just watching him travel by minecart for 17 days. And, we got the audio working and said a few words, toured the little land area that they built up and stationed there at 30 million. And then he set off for the final 20 meters or so where he rode the minecart off the edge of the world. The world stops generating at that point, and down into the abyss of the void, I suppose I could say. Well, I could literally say, because that's what it is. And that was really cool to join him there. So I hope, you know, I was tweeting a lot about it on Twitter. So if people didn't get the clue that maybe they should tune in, they missed me showing up there for the stream, which was really cool. And you know, a lot of people might not realize, they see the stream and they just see a guy in a minecart, not even at the computer, just basically broadcasting his trip in a minecart in pre-generated terrain and pre-generated minecart bridge. And they're like, oh, this is so simple. He doesn't even have to be there. He just can be hands-off and blah, 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 blah. There was actually a lot of effort that went into it, and a lot of which I learned about by joining, and as we were ramping up to the event when he arrived at 30 million blocks, talking to the people and hearing the frustration and the tiredness in their voices. They were literally building the excuse me, there was like a station at the end where he would stop off and we would be there and chat and stuff like that. They were like putting the finishing touches on that as I joined and like as he was approaching. So there was like last minute stuff with that. All the cool things they had to do. They had little Easter eggs and stuff throughout the way. Just like when they passed the 12,500,000 mark, somebody had generated a portion of the actual far lands and then copied and pasted it into that world, and how they were able to import those region files into the live world he was playing on without needing to cut the live stream or things like that. And you know, there was people who made specific mods, because if you were to just try to do that in vanilla Minecraft, there are a lot of memory leaks, they said, and performance issues that it wouldn't have been possible. So there was somebody he had who actually wrote a bunch of mods, pretty much kind of, you know, a lot of stuff to fix that or offset those issues just to get the thing to work. So yeah, it seems like it went totally smooth and it was just a guy sitting on a minecart, but there was a lot of ongoing work, and it seemed like JL just kind of started the journey and it's like, all right, I'll put this up on live stream. You know, people liked the idea, so I'll just put it up on a live stream and kind of walk away from it. But then all of a sudden, you know, much like Farlands or Bust got like a pop of popularity, there's a good word. You know, he got articles on Kotaku and up on Reddit and this and that and the other, and suddenly it turned into a big thing, and he's like, oh, maybe I should actually put some additional effort into it. So that's where a bunch of the Zip Crowd people helped him out and started doing the Child's Play charity. I think he raised over $1,700 for Child's Play charity over that journey, and a really cool thing indeed. So yeah, congratulations to the Zip Crowd and JL2579 for completing that journey, and thank you very much for having me on there for those final moments. Very cool stuff indeed. Very cool stuff indeed. And you know, I told him, well, perhaps you'll have to make a guest appearance when I finally reach the far lands here. So where will you be in 20 years? Oh, jokes. What the heck is wrong with my voice? Hold on. I'm not used to doing these 2 far lands or bust disease in a row, or you know, each day. My voice. Not that it should really make a difference. I record other videos on a daily basis, but for some reason, I think it's because I did the thing with JL zip code and then I ate lunch. Normally I record before I eat lunch, so I've got all this. This is a bunch of lunch stuck in my throat. I don't know. I think there is kind of a, you know, most people like singers and people who are thespians and actors and performers tend to try, like, they don't eat before their performances because it affects their voice, or they don't eat certain things, or milk, or you know, stuff like that affects your ability to extend your vocal muscles or something like that. So I am learning that lesson today, and I apologize if I sound like some sort of 40-year chain smoker or something like that. Sorry. But yeah, the sun's setting, so I am going to get to a bunch of questions here from donors to our Child's Play charity fundraiser, like I said, over at farlandsbus.com. So let me make the first elevated hidey hole. and a boop, and a bed, and we could probably use a boat once we set off in the morning. Oh man, there it goes again. Hold on, let me take a sip of water before I go to sleep here, because the snoring is gonna wreck my throat. Woof. Worst episode ever. And throat lozengeness. Ow! I twisted my ankle-ness as well. But yeah, I've got some questions here. This one from Chaos983. I think there was another one from Chaos983, was there not? That name sounds familiar. But Chaos983 asks, will you be building any more semi-megastructures on the Mindcrack server? He might have asked this before notification that the server was getting reset. For those of you who, I suppose, don't watch Mindcrack, my final episode of this season went up, and yes, indeed, it is getting reset. I was unable to finish the Fermilab Wilson Hall as intended for that. I had a lot of ideas to polish it off and actually make it look like the actual thing that's here in Chicagoland, near the particle accelerator here at Fermilab. I wanted to have the neutrino detector underground and the reflecting pond and just like a lot of cool exterior, and interior stuff in the atrium and bridges, and that has not come to fruition, and it is, I will admit, it is a bit, what's the word I'm looking for, of a turnoff for future large builds. I would call that a mega build. That's not like a house or a Lucky Potato food truck or a satellite in the sky, a Juno spacecraft in the sky. That's a mega build, and there's a lot of repetition and a lot of materials went into that. But it is, I suppose, especially on a multiplayer server where you have no say in what happens when resets and what land you can take and resources are available to you versus other people. It's kind of a difficult thing, so I don't know. I don't know if there are any more mega structures in my future. Similarly, Rubot, with their donation, asked what's going to happen to your Wilson Hall build if not done by the time the Mindcrack map resets. You can watch that Mindcrack episode if you haven't already and find out what happened to it. A lot of people seem to be happy with what I did to it. Spoiler alert. Instead of finishing it, I fixed it up. I gave it the fixins and the frillings and the kind of defixings, I suppose is what you could call it, and made it look like it was abandoned, post-apocalyptic, covered in vines and windows broken out and trees growing on top and on the inside. And I raised the water level up one level, so it was like it flooded, which was kind of cool. It's always a cool idea. I always thought there was a point, not to really make fun of tragedy or disaster, but last season, in season 3 of Mindcrack, when that hurricane went through New York, at the time the server hardware was hosted in New York and they lost power and the server was down for like over a week, I think. And I made the suggestion, jokingly obviously, that when we bring back the server we should somehow with MC Edit or something like that, like raise the sea level up like 5 blocks and just see what it looks like, all the flooding and most places would probably be spared because most of the time you don't build at level 64 or 72 or whatever the ground level is. But just the gentle rise in sea level, like here we would be safe obviously because sea level is way down there, but perhaps this little area would be filled with water. I always thought that would be kind of cool, and kind of one of the reasons why whenever somebody asks me what I request in Minecraft, some sort of dynamic weather, maybe not so much. I know there's mods that do tornadoes and stuff. It's like, that's kind of tornadoes are a little bit OP and a little bit gimmicky, but either like rising and lowering tides, or the fact that, you know, running water can erode and change the landscape depending on what block it's actually touching, or you know, things like that. I feel because once you're in an area and you build and this and that, and yeah, you can terraform a little bit and that's fun, but once you kind of get used to an area is when you get itchy for, you know, resetting the server, and then, you know, people who aren't ready for that get screwed over, or you get ready to start a new world, or stuff like that. So I feel like a changing environment, a changing terrain would be interesting. You know, the leaves, you know, maybe, yeah, seasons, it's kind of weird the way, am I walking the wrong way? I think I got turned around there for a brief moment, not that long. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I don't know if, you know, Minecraft is kind of weird where the seasons are kind of invented throughout the biomes. You have the different winter biomes, you have the deserts, and now the forests, and stuff like that, and different types of forests and trees. The strangely colored trees here are due to a texture pack, which I like, because I like the kind of fall kind of colors, and the reds and the browns and stuff like that. I think are really cool. It's the Flob texture pack. It's always been in the Vidya description for those interested. Even that tree is like multiple shades of green and gray and brown and red. Maroon, if you will. Maroon. But yeah, those answers can be answered by watching the last Mindcrack episode. Stuart asks, how did you originally find Lorgon 111? Did you become friends straight away, or did it build over a long period of time? Well, I don't think I found him. I think he first left a comment on one of my earliest videos, possibly before even the Farland, you know, prior to episode 11, maybe. I'll have to ask him. I honestly can't remember. But when I started taking questions for the Farlands, he actually asked a question about, you know, what's your like video game history, I think is what I called the episode, like my nostalgia. What is your timeline of experience with video games? Was from Brian Lorgon 111, and you know, I answered that question, and from that I checked out his channel and really liked. He started about the same time making Minecraft videos as I did. Waterfall. Speaking of changing terrain, I am the terrain changer here. So yeah, I checked out his channel and liked his videos and his style of commentary, and you know, just kind of you know, really didn't collaborate at all or talk much at all for a while, until we both kind of just seemed interested in continuing doing what we were doing, and you know, we found we had a lot in common and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know that it was like this person is now my friend. You know, it wasn't like a declaration like that or anything, but yeah, and then of course we first met for the first time just last year in during PAX Prime in Seattle. But yeah, I don't know how else to answer that question. But yeah, that's kind of how it went. I don't have the most perfect of memories. I actually have a very not so perfect memory when it comes to things like that. I do often get quite the stern talking to for my lack of memory about childhood events or milestones in my family or stuff like that. That I'm like, I don't remember that happening at all. That must have been a very nice moment for you to enjoy, but I was not there, or at least in my own mind, that was a dream, or I didn't exist then, you know. So I am known for not having a good short or long-term memory when it comes to stuff like that. My brain, and perhaps that is a some sort of, I don't want to say evolutionary, but biologically helpful. Oh, careful, Wolfie! Don't come down here. Helpful trait. Oh, he came down there. A biologically helpful trait for the Far Lands of Us journey, because since I don't have that good of a memory, I don't get bored because it's like, ooh, I've been doing this for 3 years. I had no idea. Everything seems new to me. A constant but slow amnesia, I suppose, is what it could be called. Perhaps I should get a CAT scan. Just put me in one of those machines. Wob, 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 wob. Sir, you're missing part of your brain, I'm afraid. So yeah, missing a part of my brain. That is the moral of that story. How did you meet Morlorgon 111? I'm missing a part of my brain. Science! Whoops, through a bed. 1, 2, 3, and across here, and let me sleep yet again. Oh, that was something cool that I had no idea in joining him, jail zip code at the 30 million mark. In the new versions of the game, there's no block offset. I'm not sure. I don't know why. I don't know technically why that is or what they changed about the floating point precision like this. But yeah, there's no block offset. Things like minecarts and redstone in certain entities do behave strangely when you place them. They are not quite sure where to place or what to do. But there is no block jitteriness or offset in the newer versions of the game. So that is a uniquely Far Lands or Bust Journey experience for us to enjoy and other people to not enjoy. But let's enjoy sleeping and continuing on in the morning. And a skeleton spawning in the distance. Boosh! Did I hit him? Oh, I don't know if I hit him. Boosh! Oh, I can't tell. It might be that the arrows are despawning by the time they get to him. You skeletons are so stupid in this version of the game. You don't try to escape your way to the. Oh, I did just barely miss him. You guys don't know how to escape into the water. You don't have the advanced pathfinding intelligence. Intelligentsia? Coffee. Speaking of coffee, no, honestly, I don't know what the next question is. Speaking of coffee, an anonymous donor asks, have you ever tried Orbiter, the spaceflight simulator? If you go back into some of the earliest videos on my channel, you will find 2 Orbiter videos where I just decided to try it out. I'd heard about it long before then, but I'd never tried it. Orbiter is a space shuttle. Well, there are other spacecraft, but at its heart, a space shuttle simulator. Like in the same way that Assetto Corsa is a driving simulator, or IL-2 Sturmovik is a flight simulator. It's like, you've got to know what you're doing, which switches to push and stuff like that. I at first had it on automatic mode, where I just sat there and enjoyed the launch into space on the space shuttle. But then I tried it in manual mode, and this was all before I'd ever played Kerbal Space Program, too, so I really didn't know the mechanics of getting into orbit, or Delta V, or apoapsis, periapsis, the orbit insertion maneuvers and gravity turns and stuff like that. So perhaps if I tried it again, I would do a little bit better, but I honestly... it's one of those games that might be a little bit too realistic to be fun for a Let's Play. But yeah, I did go back, I just look at my channel and go to the videos tab and sort from oldest to newest, and you'll see the first Far Lands or Bust episodes, but then really early on is the Orbiter videos that I played. And a very awkward and poor audio quality KurtJMac on the microphone with a headset is what I recorded with back in the day. But yeah, I have. Thank you very much for your donation and that question. Astronomy questions here. This one is kind of like I don't know if this person already knows the answer and is quizzing me, or perhaps they're asking me a question that perhaps would be better suited for somebody who's actually extremely knowledgeable about astronomy and space. Perhaps Wikipedia would have been a better place to ask, but Terry says, if planets such as Mercury and Venus are closer to the sun than the Earth is, which is true, Spire, it's kind of neat. It's the Sears Tower here, not the Willis Tower, the Sears Tower, Chicago. blah, 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 blah. Mercury and Venus are closer to the sun than the Earth. How is it possible for us here on Earth to see those planets at night when we are facing away from the sun? Brilliant question. Well, first of all, Mercury and Venus are only visible not in the dead of night, but only visible and best visible at sunrise or sunset. That's why oftentimes Venus is referred to as the evening star or the morning star, because it's only just before sunrise or just after sunset that you see a very bright shining light there, and that's because they hug closer to the sun than the other planets do, obviously, from our perspective. They're visible in just the same way that the moon is visible. They are illuminated by the sun, and if you do get a telescope out and look at Venus, Venus is easier than Mercury. Mercury is actually, even at its furthest from the sun, apparent furthestness, distance from the sun, furthestness, astronomy. Mercury is a tough thing to see unless you have very clear and low horizon to be able to see it. But if you look at Venus through a telescope, Venus goes through phases, and that's of course how pink sheep, pink sheep, pink sheep, pink sheep of Venusness, pink sheep of Venusness. Oh, wait a dang minute. Did that sheep have a pink top for a moment there? Was I seeing things? I think I was seeing things. Maybe it was just the, like Venus, it was a phase of the sun. There it is, yeah. Oh, we've just discovered something, everybody. When a pink sheep is under, when he's under the leaves, the top, I wish I could make you, like, stop moving. When he's under, in shade, that top, the texture fixes itself. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Wow, science! Science, everybody. Now he's gonna walk out. Nope, now he's proving his point. Yeah, go somewhere else. I would punch you, but then Wolfie would kill you. Yeah. Wow, you must have incredibly refractive or reflective pink fur. It just, like, once you're in the sunlight, it's like, bzzz, my eyes. Like when you're sitting on the train or on a bus and somebody's watch face hits the sunlight and just beams it right back into your face. That's what the pink sheep's wool does. I'm gonna let you keep your wool because we have discovered something scientifically important here. I wonder if it works with other blocks. Nope, well, that's not gonna do it. Science! Wait, hold still. It does. Any block. If a pink sheep, specifically, is in shade under any sort of block. Thanks, Wolfie, thank you. He's getting sick of me talking about the pink sheep. We gotta go to the farlands. Whenever a pink sheep is in the shade, a pink sheep in the shade is worth 2 in the hand. What? That doesn't make any sense at all. Whenever a pink sheep is in the shade of any block, you can see his full texture on the top there. Very, very neat stuff indeed. You, sir, are magnificent. Sir or madam, or, I don't, whatever. Whatever you may be, we accept you into our world as a scientifically significant sheep. Let's shear your friends here, though, however. Yoink! Oh, your friend? Sorry. Well, now you will never be as great as the pink sheep. The pink sheep of science-itude. Scienciness. Scienceosity. Sorry, I was talking about, bloop. I was talking about, the planets. But yeah, if you look through a telescope at Venus, it will have phases. You can see a crescent Venus when it's actually closer to us, when it's like closer to us and rounding the corner and about to pass us in its orbit. However, we can also see Venus and Mercury when they're on the opposite side of the sun, and that's the key thing. When they're on the opposite side of the sun, the disk is fully illuminated. Even though they're further away, that illumination allows it to be visible. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible way to be explaining such things as these, I feel. I think there are far better, even videos on YouTube with diagrams and artwork that can illustrate this, and perhaps it's reason enough to jump into or download and try out Space Engine, the universe simulator, and get yourself in a scenario where Venus is on the opposite side of the sun, not directly opposite. Obviously, we can't see through the sun, but on the opposite side of the sun, but still visible from Earth. And you can zoom in and kind of just see the different scenarios of where you can see Venus. But yo, I'm by no means any sort of professional educator, or I'm no Neil deGrasse Tyson or Bill Nye the Science Guy, but that was hopefully a worthwhile explanation. Terry goes on to ask, I've heard that the moon moves about an inch away from the Earth every year. This is true. About 3-point-something centimeters, about the rate at which our fingernails grow, us humans. It moves away from us each year, and that's because the going theory is that the moon was actually a Mars-sized planet that smacked into the early Earth, and it actually, if you rewind time enough, it goes back to the perfect time scale where it was actually part of Earth and it split off from that impact. It's kind of the remnants of that planetoid or whatever, and is slowly spinning away in its orbit from Earth. Terry goes on to ask, do you think humanity could/should ever try to push it closer, to prevent it from leaving us entirely? Could? No, that would require incredible amounts of force and thrust that I don't believe there's enough energy on the planet for us to even obtain in order to do that. It would take another planet-sized object or some sort of energy from that sort of motion moving in the opposite direction to get it closer. But what you would be able to take home from this is that it's moving so slow that, yes, as it gets further away, it actually is slowing down the rotation of the Earth. It would, if it gets, if the moon were to get very far away, that it would change the tidal forces, which would then affect the weather and the extremes of weather, and like I said, the length of the day, the seasons and whatnot. But the good news is we will all be fried in the inferno of our dying sun before that ever would become a problem. The sun is going to be no more in, I don't know, what is it now, about 4 billion years, give or take. And at the speed the moon is moving away from Earth, it would make no difference whatsoever, because the Earth would no longer be here. Both the Earth and the moon would no longer be here for which to experience any ill effects from that. Speaking of ill effects, this place doesn't seem that safe. I'm noticing a bunch of cavernous. Yep, well, I just dug into a cavernous. Oh, well, this was kind of bogus, wasn't it? Let's see about, very quick. Oh, this is a terrible idea, Kurt. All right, we've got to get over to that dirt. Wolfie? Kurt, get over to that dirt. Yeah, this'll do. Okay, this is getting really dangerous, really dangerous. Oh god, spiders! Spiders! Spiders are coming! The spiders! The spiders did not like my science lesson. Wolfie? Did I not get Wolfie? Oh, yeah, I did. Have a seat. The spiders! Gah, spiders. Alright, there we go. Okay, so I hope I never quite know how to answer those types of questions, because I just know, because I haven't written everything down, that I'm sure I've gotten some little factoid or little detail not quite as right as I could have, or perhaps I've simply confused people more than I've resolved anything. But I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments. in the way that you do. Yeah, speaking of do, this is the end of this episode of Farlands of Bust, episode 380. Wow, we're coming up on 400 episodes of this series. It's a good thing I have short-term and long-term memory loss, or else I would have gotten bored by now, but whew, thank goodness for brain damage. Thank goodness for brain damage, indeed. Oop, that is not where I want to put the bed. There we go. Let's make a boat, And thank you guys for joining me here on this journey today, and for hopefully those of you who were able to tune in to JL Zip Code's stream and saw me make a little cameo appearance there at the end at the 30 million, I almost said meter mark. The 30 million meter mark for that cool achievement indeed. Very cool stuff all around, and both things, Far Lands or Bust and JL Zip Code's journey to the end of the Minecraft world, going to help Child's Play charity over at Far Lands or Bust is where you can donate through Far Lands or Bust. FarLandsBust.com is where you can donate for Far Lands or Bust, that fundraiser. But yeah, I'm gonna take a break. This 2 Far Lands or Bust episodes in 2 days is just it's too much, man. It's too much for my brain to handle. So you guys have a good weekend. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time.